We are live here talking the Gridiron. A preview, Brian, not the red you wanted to see, but it is the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to be previewing as we get into the Super Bowl here, talking the Gridiron. Our guy Jimmy Pilato there, Mr. Eagle. No, just kidding. Mr. Philadelphia, he's got the Rocky poster behind him, Brian. So he did the Eagles the other day. Me and you got to look at the Chiefs kind of side of things, pro, cons, a lot of different angles, and then we'll join you all Monday for the recap of the Super Bowl here with it. But Brian Johnson, 2 weeks ago, obviously not a fan of this Super Bowl looking at it from a Niners standpoint, but let's try to look grander scheme here. The Chiefs going for 3 Super Bowls in a row. 3 in a row. That's got to be tough. I mean, you saw it with your Niners back in the day. They lost it. Like, things happen that prevent you winning from 3. How confident? What's the meter of confidence if you were a Chiefs fan here? Is it 10? Is it 11? Like, how confident would you be?
I mean, the way these playoffs have gone, I'd be a 10 out of 10. It feels like everything just goes their way. And that I don't know. It's just, but then you're facing a team in the Eagles who also get breaks going their way too. So that's what's going to be intriguing about the game. You got Saquon Barkley, who's been an absolute monster this year. Can the Chiefs slow down him?
Do you think that's the biggest factor of the game?
Yeah, because I mean, if Saquon got going early, I mean, then the Eagles could like get their offense. It makes the offense go when he's able to run the ball, because then Hurts can find his other receivers like Brown and Devontae Smith.
I was thinking about like the Chiefs here, like because we're supposed. And Jimmy did the Eagles side of things the other day. I mean, shout out Jimmy's at a wrestling tournament this weekend. Why we couldn't do the preview on Friday, but honestly, I was at a basketball game, so it probably wouldn't have worked out either. But so this works out well. But from the Chiefs side of things, the first thing that comes to mind is legacy, right? Like legacy comes, like same thing with like when you watch that Roger Craig fumble. When you watch them lose the Giants, like even that 5 years later from Bay Area people, that that as good as their legacy was, that had a effect on it, right? A little bit, even though Joe Montana's a 4-time world champion. You look at Mahomes here, going for the 3-peat. This separates him from so many other people if he gets this W, right? I mean, this separates it. Like, that's a long time for another quarterback to probably win 3 in a row. He has such an opportunity to put himself in a class of his absolute own. Tom Brady never even won 3 in a row. You know what I mean? Like, He has a chance to do something that no other player has been able to do. But then you look at a franchise in the Super Bowl era. I mean, I think that's where Johnson, for me and you, is like, as much as me and you were Pats haters back in the day, right? We didn't want them to get as many as they did. Like, they got the 6. It feels like that same energy, right? Right?
Yeah, I mean, just because they get the breaks, they get the calls. They're just such a good team. They make big plays at the right time, and it's just it's hard to beat a team when they do that.
I mean, okay, so let's start there with it. Chiefs, Eagles. We're going. What's the biggest advantage the Chiefs has? Is it Mahomes?
I would say their passing defense could neutralize the Eagles and make them a one-dimensional team, and I think that could favor the Chiefs, because then they could, if the more that they have the ball on offense, the more Mahomes is going to get it going, and he's going to find Kelsey, he's going to find these other receivers and score touchdowns.
I mean, Taylor Swift really can run routes at a high level, and I worry about her. No, I'm just kidding.
I guess that's the other question. What celebrities are going to be with the Swifties up in the Super Bowl?
It was so funny. I had 4th grade PE this year, and I had this week, and I had a girl ask me. She goes, "I hear if." I was like, "Did you get that from Brian Johnson?" She goes, "I heard if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, that what's his name? Oh, I was like, Kelsey will propose to Taylor Swift." I was like, "You've been listening. You have been listening to the fat boy, and you haven't Johnson over 2 years."
I always bring the TMZ angle. So
we like that, Johnson. We like that. So you got the as much as so you said the Chiefs backfield. I mean, Chris Jones to me and that defensive line is going to be the biggest factor. I mean, because if you look at it from the more I'm looking at, like, part of me goes, okay, well, the Chiefs just have magic. They have Mahomes, they have Kelsey, they have Reed, which is as good a structure as you want. You have your best player, you have his best receiver, and you have a head coach that's an offensive mind. But you also have this Chris Jones factor. You have Spagnuolo that could be like we've talked about many times, a Hall of Fame on a defensive coordinator standpoint. If it doesn't happen, but you get my point there. Johnson, it's the Eagles. Those feel set up to be able to possibly beat the Chiefs, right? With the Barkley, with the offensive line, with the receivers, like with Hurts being able to run if ready to go. I mean, I guess you had your Niners last year. Did you feel more confident in your Niners, or did you feel more confident in the Eagles this year to be able to upset the Chiefs?
I mean, McCaffrey had a similar season last year. I mean, he didn't have the yardage Barkley had, but he had the dominant year, and it felt like he had in the first half he had it going against the Chiefs defense. So I feel like you're going to look back out in that Super Bowl and been like, man, we should have been the one that should have ended that dynasty.
You didn't, and it made you not sleep well for a few weeks.
Exactly.
The other thing for the Chiefs, like, what needs to happen? Like, okay, I feel like for the Chiefs, like, I heard some people on the radio this week, Brian, say, "Oh, the first 10 minutes for the Eagles, oh, that they have to put their stamp down." To me, I call BS on that. I feel like the Chiefs are the team where it doesn't matter about early in the game. It's like, is there an 8-point game with 5 minutes left? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to be 2 scores up against this team. So the fact that me and you were previewing the Chiefs, I go to the Eagles, I say the pressure, they're the underdogs, but it's only by 1 point because a lot of people are kind of doubting the Chiefs a little bit. Like, this has to be their weakest team in the 3 years, right? If the 3
Yeah.
straight. You get my point? It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, me and you respect this team as much as we did those Patriots teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, they don't have the weapons that they had previously. They don't have Tyreek Hill. They don't have
Does that matter to you,
the,
though?
I mean, they continue to get it done, which is what matters in the playoffs. But I mean, this if anybody's going to do it, it's now, or it just is never going to happen, in my opinion.
Brian, if they win this week, this is the greatest dynasty, right? Like, this is the
Yeah,
dynasty, right? 3 in a row.
yeah, because I mean, did the Steelers ever do that? Did the
Nope.
Patriots
Nope.
ever do it?
The
Did the
Packers
49ers?
The Packers won one in the old, like, before it was actually like the Super Bowl era type of deal. They had won 3 in a row in the 60s. But they won the 2 in a row Super Bowl 1 and Super Bowl 2. I believe Super Bowl 2 was against the Chiefs. They won that Super Bowl 1 against the Raiders. It feels
And I
different.
know Denver won 2 in a row, but then John Elway retired.
No team has even made it to 3 straight Super Bowls,
So,
right? Other than, like, that
yeah.
is one. The Bills obviously made it to 4, but they didn't win any of those. So I feel like the Chiefs are just, man, what a chance. Like, honestly, Mahomes has a chance here to be probably a quarterback that my kids remember. Like, if you went 3 in a row, right? Like, that's the legacy you're setting.
Yeah.
That's the legacy you're setting if they have a chance to do it. And
I have to make a point during media day. Somebody was razzing Mahomes. I couldn't believe he said it, but he said, "Who's your favorite referee?" So that's going to be another factor in this game. Do they continue to get those, break calls where it should go the other way, but it always goes the Chiefs' way?
We going undefeated.
The Chiefs and the Rats are good. They are good undefeated, Johnson. That's your answer right there. That's your answer right there. They are going undefeated with it. You texted me this. You said, would Mahomes be better than Joe Montana if he wins the Super Bowl? That gives Mahomes 3, right?
Yeah.
It gives Jolton Joe. He has 4. Mahomes obviously lost to maybe some considered the greatest quarterback of all time, Thomas. You answer your own question. Does this make him better than Joe?
I would say yes, because he's won 3 in a row, which Joe Montana hasn't done.
Well, that's because Joe Montana got the absolute crap kicked out of it. 1 sack. That would be illegal. The guy would go to jail for that hit sack. No, I just kidding. So you think he would be better than Jolton Joe? He wins 3 in a row. That put him. That's not. It can't be better than Tom though. With Tom as set.
No, it would put him number 2 in my opinion behind Tom Brady.
Even so, that Bradshaw, right? He's got 4.
Yeah, Bradshaw's got 4, but Tom's number 1.
Man, like I said, like the biggest note I have, like I have all this stuff for this game, but I'm just like Mahomes legacy, Mahomes legacy, Mahomes legacy, Mahomes. Like even for Andy Reid, it would be a big deal, but for Mahomes, it affects the most in terms of just being the first to ever do something in the modern Super Bowl era. Right? I mean, that's like it was like the Warriors when they were 73-9, and they had a chance to be not just beat the Bulls record, but also win the championship. But they couldn't win the championship. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what it feels like with Mahomes. Is like he's there, he's right there to be the best ever. Like, and clearly, and so I don't know.
I mean, at another point, it was the Patriots went undefeated during the regular season, but couldn't seal the deal in the Super Bowl.
Is it with the Eagles offense? What would have you concerned if you were a Chiefs fan?
Barkley, because once he gets going, it just opens up everything else in the offense.
And people forget how good AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, those guys are like I feel like Jalen Hurts played a pretty good game against the Chiefs last time, right? Like a pretty good game, but he made a couple mistakes that affected that game, right? They lost 38-35 2 years ago. Great game. As we've been saying all year on Fat Boy, as we've been saying all year on Talkin, no team finishes the games better than Kansas City. I really feel like you have to be up 2 scores. You have to kill this team. It can't be give them life. I just don't see it. Like, you know, that's what I'm like. You have to be up by 10 with less than a minute left. Like, you cannot. You cannot be in a chance.
That the last team to beat them was Tampa Bay, and they did that exact same thing. They were just throwing pressure at Mahomes, and Mahomes was hobbling around, and that's really how you have to be able to beat Mahomes.
Remember how I said last week that Jamal Lewis was celebrating, or Eric Dickerson was celebrating every time Jamal Lewis got stopped at the rushing record? Yeah. Remember that I said, is that going to be Tom on Fox tomorrow? Good play! That away, Eagles. Way to knock it down. That a boy.
I think in the back of his head, he wants to be I'm the only guy that beat Mahomes.
Think he's rooting for other than Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, we got to shout out Big Joe though, right? Joe Burrow did get the job done. Burrow did. So do you think Tom secretly tomorrow on Fox 3:30 are they is there going to be is there going to be any bias we're going to be reading from Tom tomorrow, or do you think he's going to be able to play it straight?
I think there might be a little bit of slurpage of Mahomes. I think there might be.
He shouldn't be. He should be going anti. He should be going big hurts on that side. That's the way he should be going with it. All right. So tomorrow you got the big game. Anything else from the Chiefs sides? I mean, I think Chris Jones is always a factor for the Chiefs. He just feels right. He feels like he's always
and you know their defensive coordinator. He's got his hands full. He's got to be able to shut down the best offensive player in the game right now.
The one thing about the Chiefs is they blitz a lot usually.
Yeah.
So you would think that their goal is to shut down the running game and make Hurts beat them.
Yeah, exactly. That would be my game plan. Make them one-dimensional throwing team.
Do you think? Like from the Chiefs standpoint, like obviously they have the defensive line to be able to get the job done. Their cornerbacks have been solid all year. What has you the most concerned on offense? Because I feel like Kelsey has been there, but like at times we've talked about how they kind of just nickeled and dimed. Do you feel like they have a rhythm now with their receivers a little bit with Hopkins now on the team? Obviously now for a few weeks. The running backs, they haven't really been able to run the ball like effectively, I would say, ever. So, and just what do you kind of think of that offense? Obviously, Mahomes is a stud and Kelsey, but what do you kind of think overall?
Yeah, I would say their weakness right now is their running game. Yeah, I mean, they haven't been able to get it going. I would, if I were the Eagles, I would just, try to make them try to take away the passing game and try to make them run the ball.
Adam Darvish, if you're listening, please comment in. Is Tom better? Is Tom better than Mahomes? If he wins 3-0, Adam, if you're there, he's probably watching Jimmy Butler and the Warriors. Right? It's probably where he's at right now. All right, so the Eagles are favored by a game and a half tomorrow. Like I said, 3:30 start our time out here, 6:30 on the East time here. What's kind of maybe your kind of final thoughts there with the Chiefs Eagles Super Bowl tomorrow night?
Can the Eagles stop another dynasty from happening?
Does it make the Eagle a dynasty? It doesn't, right? Because of the Foles one? Like, no, okay. It doesn't, because that was I feel like that was too long ago. Right? That was too long.
Yeah, I mean, because that was a while ago when they beat the Patriots.
Let's say the Eagles beat the Chiefs tomorrow. Let's say that happens. Let's say that happens. Do the Chiefs, is this where the Chiefs then maybe take a massive step backwards? Or is it like, they still got Mahomes, little humble pie served. They'll be remotivated. Like, losing the Super Bowl has always affected teams, right? It did not affect the Chiefs, though, a couple of years ago when they lost. So, is Mahomes just built different to where he can overcome everything?
I don't know. Just looking at his stats over the couple of years, I don't know. This team is primed for a decline, in my opinion. They're just not. They're getting older. They just don't have the youth that they used to have, and I think if they lost, they wouldn't have the same kind of team moving forward.
Obviously, they get Rice back next year a little bit there, but you're right. I think a loss here. I think that hurts a little bit. I mean, man, that would really hurt the Eagles too, though. 2 and 3 years of the same team.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. The same quarterback. You added Barkley as the running back. You added Brown as your receiver. That would hurt a little bit. I feel like the Eagles are primed to be able to take this from the Chiefs. But if I was a KC fan, you're just kind of basing it on that legacy a little bit. And you obviously know you have. But the one thing of the Chiefs too, if we're talking football, is Brian. They do play good defense. Like they really do. Like they're not a bad. It's easy to look at Mahomes, but they really do dig in defensively this year more than I feel like they have in the past.
Yeah, I mean, Spagnuolo has just put together a great defensive game plan the whole year. They just have a way of like shutting you down or making you one-dimensional. They're really good at press coverage.
And he has those timely blitzes that piss me off. I'm like, why can't my team blitz and get 5 guys in the quarterback in half a second with it as well? All right, so we'll do our predictions as well tomorrow morning. But so you have a few hours to make it on that pod. But where are you leaning right now?
I'm leaning the Chiefs. I just think there's too much, destiny, and I don't know. It's hard to vote against. It's hard to bet against the Chiefs at this point.
I kind of feel like you're the same way with it. You know what I mean? I kind of think the Chiefs find a way to win. I think their defense is very good this year. I think it's very underrated. And like I said, if it's just less than an 8-point game at the end, I'm always going to take the Chiefs. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it.
That's the way I feel too. So.
All right, so Super Bowl tomorrow. Me and you we'll jump on tomorrow morning as well. But Variety Sports Network, you're here talking the Gridiron. You got Brian Johnson with me here. Well, Brian, hopefully you can maybe join us Monday if it works out. I know you work Monday, but hopefully we can maybe make something work if we don't get on before you get off work. And we can kind of recap the game here with Tyler and Jimmy Pilato, who did the Eagles preview over at Far Into the Bench. But make sure you follow Variety Sports Network. Make sure you follow us over at Fat Boy as well. We appreciate that. We're doing the best we can with it. Brian, talking the Gridiron here. We'll see you tomorrow morning, and then hopefully Monday for the Super Bowl recap. Brian, what's your go-to appetizer or food on Super Bowl Sunday?
I'd probably say I'm a big nachos guy.
Nachos. So not buffalo wings. The buffalo wings seem to be very popular with a lot of these people. Those buffalo.
No, I'm not a big buffalo wing guy.
All right, Johnson. All right, you're not going to get the 25 wings for $25 deals probably at LA. There, you're not getting those with it. Brian's going somewhere else. All right, for Brian Johnson, I'm Darren Breyer, Jimmy Pilato out there. We'll see you guys on Monday. Talking the Gridiron. Peace.
Peace.